I've never really been a sketchbook person, which feels a rather odd thing to admit as an artist. I admire beautiful sketchbooks, but when it comes to my own, I've always been far too precious. One mistake on a page and my sketchbook would feel ruined. I don't think I've ever filled an entire sketchbook. The perfectionist in me would always come out, so for years I've worked on loose sheets of paper in my layout pad, which I'm ashamed to say would either get discarded or lost. Occasionally I'd keep fragments. When I was at art school, I used to bind the best ones afterwards. It was my way of creating my own little archive. And I think maybe it's time to revive that practice. I have to remember that a sketchbook is not about finished art. It's about collecting ideas, the things you notice, the tiny observations, those little details that quietly stay with you. So I've decided to try something I've not done in years. A sketchbook. Well, not quite a sketchbook exactly. Instead of forcing myself into a sketchbook that, well, just doesn't suit me, I'm creating something that feels much more like me. A living archive. A place for my tiny sketches, for my curious observations, for my strange little ideas. Things that might one day become larger, or an entire world perhaps. My studio has always been full of little collections, feathers, seed pods, curious objects, old wooden type. I suppose this is an extension of that. I also want to start carrying a little field kit with me. Not to make perfect drawings, just to write down and sketch the things I notice. It might be a crooked roof, moss creeping over a terracotta pot, a crooked chimney, a beautifully shaped bottle. I have a feeling these little observations will quietly find their way into future illustrations. I want to take more time over things, improve my craft, get back to sketching. One thing I'm hoping this archive will encourage me to do is slow down. I've been trying to do so much, so quickly, for such a long time, that I think it's time to pay attention to the little things, the things that are so easily overlooked. I want to take more time over things, improve my craft. I want to get back to sketching. I'm so out of practice. Something that once came naturally has been lost to me. That loose, carefree way of drawing and noticing the world. It's been replaced by deadlines. The fast pace of social media, endless scrolling, and relentless streams of content. I want a more analog way of living and noticing the world. This week, I've also been finishing a new colouring page. It's absolutely packed with tiny details, which is typical of me. But as I've been drawing it, I can't help but think how wonderful it would have been to have this archive already growing. Every little detail begins somewhere, so why not from my very own archive? This colouring page will be one of the very first to feature on my new membership platform, which I will be launching very, very soon. Recently, I went nurdle hunting. If you've never heard of a nurdle before, they're tiny plastic pellets used to manufacture almost everything made from plastic. Sadly, they often find their way into our rivers and oceans, where they're mistaken for food by wildlife. They're incredibly easy to miss. I wasn't even aware of them before I started on this project, on this journey. But once you know what you're looking for, you start seeing them everywhere. I've been collecting nurdles, not as souvenirs, but as a reminder. A tiny observation with a much bigger story to tell.